Shalom. First and foremost, want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakadash, the bond star apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect out here pushing truth and sincerity. The water for what you do, we love you. We appreciate you through the spirit of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, and Shalom to y'all. This is your brother Dawa Dodd from the Great Millstone Camp in Atlanta. Lord willing to give you an edifying lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Who the world ignorantly calls God, his name is Yahweh, meaning he is or he exists or he to be. Who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, his name is Yahweh Shai, meaning he is the Savior or he is the deliverer. All right, he saves, he delivers. If you're watching this now, you are a so-called black, Native American, or Latino man or woman, then you are a Hebrew Israelite according to the Holy Bible. You will not find black, Native American, or Latino in the Bible. So you need to know who you are according to the Bible. Okay? Certain people in the Bible was promised the kingdom, the glory, the covenant, and salvation. Okay? Now, just because you don't look like a so-called black, Native American, or Latino, that does not mean that you're not a Hebrew Israelite. That's especially if you believe in this truth and you feel like it resonates with your spirit. Well, then there's a good possibility that you could be a Hebrew Israelite. This thing is not about color, right? It does not matter what color you are. It does not matter what you look like. It only matters that your bloodline goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Jacob had his name later changed to Israel. Israel in the Hebrew is Yasharallah, meaning he is a prince of the power. All right. Now let's continue where we left off. We are learning of our forefathers, the conquest of David. All right, learning the characteristics of our forefathers and how we can apply them in today's time to ourselves. This is 1 Samuel chapter 21 and 1. And the subtitle reads, David takes consecrated bread. So let's read into this and see what it is. Also, these readings are great because we get to see, certain events. Like sometimes you'll hear the apostles and elders might say something, like they might give an account of a story in the scriptures, and you might not know where that story comes from, and it behooves you to know. Okay, it's very important to know certain things. Just an example. I remember one time, apostles, talking to bros about drawer of water. A drawer of water is a slave, essentially. So, where do we get that account from? Well, you can go to the book of Joshua. Right. And, just in general, man, we should be knowing where certain stories come from. Right. Right. When hey, the story is a bunch of stories, man. So many stories, so many accounts. But let's just get into what we have at hand. There's so many stories and different accounts. Like, you should know. You know what I mean? You should know about our forefathers. 1 Samuel 21 and 1. Then came David to Nob, to Ahimelech the priest, and Ahimelech was afraid at the meeting of David, and said unto him, Why art thou alone, and no man with thee? And David said unto Ahimelech the priest, The king hath commanded me a business, and hath said unto me, Let no man know anything of the business whereabout I send thee, and what I have commanded thee. And I have appointed my servants to such and such a place. Now therefore, what is under thine hand, give me 5 loaves of bread in my hand, or what there is present. And the priest answered David and said, There is no common bread under mine hand, but there is hollow bread. If the young men have kept themselves at least from women. And David answered the priest and said unto him, Of a truth, women have been kept from us about these 3 days. Since I came out, and the vessels of the young men are holy, and the bread is in a manner, and the bread is in a manner common. Yea, though it were sanctified this day in the vessel. So the priest gave him hollowed bread, for there was no bread there but the shewbread that was taken from before the Lord, to put hot bread in the day when it was taken away. Now a certain man of the servants of Saul was there that day, detained before the Lord, And his name was Doeg, an Edomite, the chiefess of the herdmen that belonged to Saul. And David said unto Ahimelech, is there not here under thine hand spear or sword? For I have neither brought my sword nor my weapon with me, because the king's business required haste. And the priest said, the sword of Goliath, the Philistine, whom thou slewest in the valley of Elah, behold, it is here wrapped in a cloth behind the ephod. If thou wilt take that, take it, for there is no other save that here. And David said, there is none like that, give it to me. And David arose and fled that day for fear of Saul, and went to Achish, the king of Gath. And the servants of Achish said unto him, Is not this David the king of the land? Did they not sing one to another of him in dances, saying, Saul hath slain his thousands and David his 10,000s? So now you can see where, that hatred is kind of coming from, that jealousy and that envy is coming from. Imagine you being a king, and you hearing your people kind of undermine you. You know what I mean? Maybe they don't mean it, they're not trying to provoke you, but hey, man, that's, that can be provoking. But, nonetheless, bro, you're the king. What do you care about, man? You know what I'm saying? You got demons on you, And likewise for any of us brothers, and that's why I said it's important for us to read these stories, because likewise for us, man, right? The Passover come over, what we do? We clean our flesh, right, of leavening, because a little leaven lumped the whole roll, man. So bros gotta, if you got any quarrel with your brothers, man, pray to the Lord to get those demons off you, man. Those spirits, man. It says, and David laid up these words in his heart, and was sore afraid of Achish, the king of Gath. And he changed his behavior before them, and feigned himself mad in their hands, and scrabbled on the doors of the gate, and let his spittle fall down upon his beard. So now we have a genius, man. They're like, isn't that David? Yeah, King Saul's looking for him, but what does he do? He makes himself look like, a fool. Makes himself look like a, a fool, a stranger, one who has maybe demons on him. Madness, they say, Yeah, actually, it says it right there. And feigned himself mad in their hands, and scrabbled on the doors of the gate. All right, so pretty much to disguise himself, and let his spittle fall down his beard. So he's like drooling and shit. Then said Achish unto his servants, Lo, ye see the man is mad. Therefore, wherefore then have ye brought him to me? Have I need of mad men, that ye have brought this fellow to play the mad man in my presence? Shall this fellow come into my house? You know what I'm saying? Let me see. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, we'll do this chapter. It says the priest slain that Nob. David therefore departed thence and escaped to the cave Adullam. And when his brethren and all his father's house heard it, they were down thither. It's like they went down thither to him. And everyone that was in distress, and everyone that was in debt, and everyone that was discontented, gathered themselves unto him, and he became a captain over them. And there were with him about 400 men. And David went thence to Mizpah of Moab. And he said unto the king of Moab, Let my father and my mother, I pray thee, come forth and be with you, till I know what God will do for me. I want to say with Yahweh, but what the Heavenly Father would do with me. And he brought them before the king of Moab, and they dwelt with him all the while that David was in the hold. And the prophet Gad said unto David, Abide not in the hold, depart and get thee into the land of Judah. Then David departed and came into the forest of Hereth. When Saul heard that David was discovered, and the men that were with him. Now Saul abode in Gibeah under a tree in Ramah, having his spear in his hand, and all his servants were standing about him. Then Saul said unto his servants that stood about him, Hear now, ye Benjamites, will the son of Jesse give every one of you fields and vineyards, and make you all captains of thousands and captains of hundreds? That all of you have conspired against me, and there is none that showeth me that my son hath made a league with the son of Jesse, and there is none of you that is sorry for me, or showeth unto me that my son hath stirred up my servant against me to lie in wait as at this day? Then answered Doeg the Edomite, which was set over the servants of Saul, and said, I saw the son of Jesse coming into Nob, to Ahimelech, the son of Ahitub. And he inquired of the Lord for him, and gave him victuals, and gave him the sword of Goliath the Philistine. Then the king sent to call Ahimelech the priest, the son of Ahitub, and all his father's house, the priests that were in Nob, and they came all of them to the king. And Saul said, Hear now, thou son of Ahitub. And he answered, Here I am, my lord. And Saul said unto him, Why have you conspired against me, thou and the son of Jesse, in that thou hast given him bread and a sword, and hast inquired of God for him, that he should arise against me to lie in wait as this day? Then Ahimelech answered this king and said, And who is so faithful among all the servants of David, which is the king's son-in-law, and goeth at thy bidding, and is honorable in thine house? Did I then begin to inquire of God for him? Be it far from me, let not the king impute anything unto his servant, nor to all the house of the father of my father. For thy servant knew nothing of all this, less or more. And the king said, Thou shalt surely die, Ahimelech, thou and all thy father's house. Now see, that's wicked. You see? That's wicked as all hell. You see? It says, and the king said unto the foot. Now you see why it's starting to unravel of like what type of man Saul was. You know? It says, and the king said unto the footmen that stood about him, Turn and slay the priests of the Lord, because their hand also is with David, and because they knew when he fled and did not show it to me. But the servants of the king would not put forth their hand and fall upon the priests of the Lord. You can't do that. Remember, you can't do that, man. You can't do that. In some situations, the priests they had more power than the king, man. We just had a class about that not too long ago. It says, and the king said unto Doeg, Turn down and fall upon the priest. And Doeg the Edomite turned, and he fell upon the priest, and slew on that day fourscore and 5 persons that did wear linen ephod. So Doeg was an Edomite. So I mean, yeah, man. The true men in the Lord didn't do that. You see. But he had the Edomite. Now it just says Doeg the Edomite, but that man's not righteous, man. Not righteous, man. It says, and no, the city of the priests smote he with the edge of the sword, both men and women. Here, see, man, children and sucklings, and oxen and asses and sheep with the edge of the sword. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It says, and one of the sons of Ahimelech and the sons of Ahitub, named Abiathar, escaped and fled after David. And Abiathar showed David that Saul had slain the Lord's priests. And David said unto Abiathar, I knew it that day when Doeg the Edomite was there, that he would surely tell Saul, I have occasioned the death of all the persons of thy father's house. Abide thou with me, fear not, for he that seeketh my life seeketh thy life. But with me thou shalt be in safeguard. Man, it's a king. Oh, damn, man. That shit brings a tear to your eye, man. Man. Yeah, man. The Lord wanted you was edified. I want to end it off by giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua Bashim Kakadash. Double honor to the apostles, the elders, the great millstone that rule well. Peace and blessing to the hopeful elect, and shalom. Gotta get out.